So to start off Dr. Stone, we have a wholesome high school scene with a love confession. And everyone gets turned to stone. So 3,700 years later, the first person to break free of the stone is our main character Senku. He's super smart and has one of the best catchphrases I've heard from an anime character in a while. Turns out he was conscious the whole time he was frozen in stone, but as soon as he broke free, he used his smarts to gather resources and provide for himself. In only a span of 6 months, he figured out a way to undo the petrification, and he unfroze his friend named Taiju so he can help with the heavy lifting, and they can both work hard to free Taiju's crush, Yuzuriha. But before they get a chance to, they're forced to unfreeze this strong guy named Tsukasa. And everything went well at first. Tsukasa did all the hunting and Senku and Taiju worked on unfreezing more people. But it turns out that Tsukasa wants to kill all the adults and only unfreeze the young and strong. But Senku didn't agree with that and he wanted to save everyone. After unfreezing Yuzuriha, all three of them try to get away from Tsukasa because they realize he's a murderer. But he catches up with them and holds Yuzuriha hostage to make Senku tell him how to undo the petrification. And then he kills Senku. But apparently he had a piece of the stone still attached to him, and they were able to use that to heal Senku. So Senku decides to send Taiju and Yuzuriha to work with Tsukasa, while he hides out and builds things with science to stop Tsukasa. Senku stumbles across this girl named Kohaku, trapped under a tree. Senku saves her, earning her trust, so she takes him back to her village. But the people of the village aren't people that were trapped in the stone, but they are descendants of people that were in space and escaped being trapped in stone. This includes Senku's dad, by adoption by the way. But yeah, she takes him back to a village, and the villagers are so primitive that they think anything science related is sorcery. So they don't trust Senku, but he meets this one villager named Chrome. He's a town sorcerer, and he takes a liking to Senku because Senku can actually make sense of what Chrome is doing and teach him more things about science. By the way, they don't allow outsiders into the village, so Senku isn't allowed in, so he has to figure out a way for them to allow him in the village. So Kohaku has a sick sister named Ruri that just so happens to be the priestess of the village. So Senku, Chrome, and Kohaku gather materials to make antibiotics to cure her and earn the villagers' trust. While they are making antibiotics, they encounter a magician named Gen. He's a scout sent by Tsukasa to make sure that Senku is dead. But instead of telling Tsukasa that Senku is alive, he decides to join Senku for just a bottle of cola. So after they make the antibiotics, they still don't have a way to give it to her because they still don't trust Senku. So they compete in this thing called the Grand Bout. And that's basically a competition to decide who's the next village chief. And by some weird stroke of luck, Senku wins and becomes the chief of the village and gets to marry the priestess. But he divorces her before they even get married because he ain't no simp. So Senku gives Ruri the antibiotics, and it only turns out that she had pneumonia, so it was easily cured. And now he has all the villagers to help him with his science. So Gen returns to warn Senku about Tsukasa's second in command named Hyoga. And soon after, Hyoga shows up and him and Senku have a battle that ends with Hyoga going back and telling Tsukasa that Senku is alive. And both sides prepare during the winter for battle in the spring. Tsukasa gathers strong fighters and Senku invents a working cell phone so that he can have communication. With all the preparations out of the way, Senku storms into Tsukasa's base with a tank that he made that I kinda forgot to add, and took control of the cave with the fluid to undo petrification. Then Tsukasa shows up, and after a quick battle that ended in Senku inventing dynamite and Tsukasa calling a truce, we find out that Tsukasa has a sister that was in a coma before everyone got turned to stone. So Senku had the idea to use the healing factor of undoing the petrification to heal her, and it works. So with Senku having healed his sister, the war is over and Tsukasa gives up on fighting Senku. But Hyoga still wants war, so he attacks Tsukasa's sister, forcing him to take a hit for her. So Hyoga gets Senku and injured Tsukasa alone to kill them. But Tsukasa fights for a while Senku makes a taser somehow, and they win. But the wound that Tsukasa got in the fight was too severe for Senku to fix in the Stone Age. So he has the idea to freeze Tsukasa until he can figure out how to turn him into stone and take advantage of the healing factor of undoing the petrification. And with that, they all set off across the planet to find the origin of petrification. But yeah, that's all until the next season. This took quite a while for me to do, so if you enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And with that being said, yeah.